artist friends, today we are going to be making some shape snakes using lines to help us know where our little snakes are going to take a slither. Now these reptiles are helpful because they don't really have one specific shape. They are made of two lines, one on each side, that comes together to show us where our snakes will be. So I'm going to make 3 little snakes today, but you can decide how many you'd like to make and you get to pick your own patterns. Now I'll be drawing in a Sharpie so that you can see my drawing from far away, but as always, you are welcome to start right with a pencil and then trace and erase with a Sharpie if you would like. So the first thing we need to do is to draw a single line, and that line can take any direction it would like, though you might want to stick to more curved lines and not something sharp and pointed, since that wouldn't be very realistic to the body of a snake. At the end, we'll also make a little head that's open so we can add those sharp snake teeth. So I'm going to curve down, and I'll give my snake maybe a little wiggle to the bottom of my page. Now, before I come back the other way, I'm going to make the opening of my snake's mouth. So here I'm going to make a letter V that opens right here and then come back with a half circle at the top. And now I get to follow the rest of my snake tail just like a road. So think about the edge of a road here and the edge of a road here and how we're going to leave a little space in between, but then come together to see what our little snake is going to become. Now I've got it a little bit smaller at the end for my little snake's tail, and I'll add an eye and a tongue and all those other details later. But next I'm just going to add another snake line. Now I'm going to try not to overlap my snakes because I think it might be a little bit easier for me to color, but if you want to take this drawing to the next level and actually have some of your snakes overlap on top of each other, you can try that too. I think this one I'm going to do, I think I'll do a little curly swirly over here and make it kind of curl around. Now remember, when you get to the end, you're going to make that letter V, open, open, and then come back with that half circle and then follow like a road. Looks like this snake of mine is going to be a little bit skinnier, and then come back down to a point. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, and then, I think I'm going to do a little baby tiny snake over here. And my little snake is going to have that little zigzaggy, sort of gentle moving, wiggling line down here. And I'm actually going to do the head on this side. Remember, half circle, make a V, and then come back around and follow like a road. Now this is where it gets kind of fun. The part inside your snake, all these details inside here are going to be made from different kinds of patterns. And as you remember, a pattern is something that repeats. So as long as it happens over and over again, it counts as a pattern. Now, my artist eye is noticing that this side looks a little bit sad, like I need something there. So I'm actually going to draw one more little snake curling down here and come to this side. Maybe you'll be talking with this friend, that little V for the open mouth, curve with that half circle, and then come back around. So this is another sort of like smaller baby snake. Now it's time for me to add my details. The details include my pattern, the eyes, the tongue. Maybe if I want to have a rattlesnake, I can add those details at the end. And a rattlesnake has these little ovals that get progressively smaller, and then it shakes his little tail to make that rattle sound. I can also add different eyes for each snake. So maybe this snake, since it looks kind of curled up, is going to be sleeping. So it's got like a little half open eye. This one I'm just going to do a little dot. This one I'm going to have maybe a little line underneath and then an open dot. Oh, he looks so sleepy, but that's okay. And this one I'm going to do a big circle, maybe a little eyelid and an opening there. So you can change the eyes. And then the tongues are kind of fun too, because the tongues are made from lines, but instead of having 2 lines to make my snake body, I just need one line to make my snake tongue. So I'm going to give it a wiggly tongue this way. That's a nice wavy line. And again, a little V at the end. This one, I'm going to curl it around like a little coil, just like the rest of my snake. Coil and a V, boop, open at the end. Here's another one. Maybe a little zigzaggy line. And then a V at the end. And my last little snake right here, one more little coil, boop, and then a V at the end. Now, my final drawing detail is to add my pattern. And again, since we know a pattern is something that repeats, we can pick how we'd like to make our own pattern. So I think I'm going to start with this big snake here, and I'm just going to simply make a few lines, because lines are always a great element to use when we make art. And the fact of lines is that there's so many ways to make them. We can make them straight. We can make them curving. We can make them curling. They can do all sorts of things. So I have my lines kind of making these little dashes, and when I color it in, I can also make a pattern. This little snake, I'm going to give it some big polka dots kind of down the middle of its back. And remember, as long as I'm repeating my design, it counts as a pattern. And maybe I'll even do some little dashes or some details in between. So it goes circle, dash, okay? Let's think of another pattern here. This one, I'm going to make this little sprinkly snake. So he's got some little sprinkles, kind of like a donut, even though you definitely wouldn't want to eat this snake. And I'll add my patterns here that repeat. And my last snake, I wonder what I should add to that. You at home, what do you think would be a good pattern? Maybe some spirals? Let's try some spirals. So I'm going to curl some spirals around like this to make my snake have some different patterns. Ooh, these get a little tiny. It's tricky. All right, my friends, now that we've made our snakes and we've practiced our lines and our tongues and our patterns, it is time to color. Now, as always, as an artist, this is just your start of an idea. So if you want to take this a step further and add some grass or some bugs or more snakes or a whole pile of them, you are welcome to. Remember, you are the artist and your job is to be creative and have fun. So now I'm going to go in super speed motion using the coloring tools that I have around me. In this case, today it's markers, and I'm going to color in my snakes in a pattern. All right, friends, time to color. I loved coloring all these little line snakes that were taking different directions across my paper. Now, one final detail, if you'd like to add some action lines to make your snakes look like they're moving, grab that Sharpie or that black marker again and just do a few little lines around the outside of some of your snakes, and it gives it a little illusion that it's wiggling. So again, a few curved lines near just some parts of your snake give it the illusion that it's taken a little wiggle. You could even do it by its tongue if you want to make it look like it's hissing its tongue. And those action lines can help give a little bit more dimension or interest to your drawing. So my friends, I hope you had fun creating your line snakes today. Remember, you are strong, you are amazing, you are resilient, and I love you. We'll see you next time, artists.